maybe not in Holland, but in North America, 30, 40,000 US dollars to get a basic university education. And then another 30, 40,000 to get a mastership or a doctorate. So it costs almost $100,000 to get an education. And then you have to spend so much time after that working, earning money, maintaining a wife and family and children. And in the end, you have to leave it all back. All your investment will be taken away from you. It's insanity. So I thought to myself as a young boy, it's crazy. What is the use of this? This is not right. There's something wrong. This is not the right way. This is not the right way to run a casino. If it's a casino. So that's what decided me to look for an alternative kind of lifestyle. I was still in high school, so I opted against the choice of going to university. I opted against getting a higher degree, getting some qualification. I simply worked just to earn enough money, to keep my body and soul together and have a good time, waiting for something to happen. Waiting for Godot. That's the story of our life. We're always waiting, and maybe tomorrow will be better. Well, let me tell you, if it wasn't good today, there's not much chance it will be good tomorrow. Whatever you do, there's a reaction. And if you perform an action and you get a certain reaction, it's insane to think that if I keep on doing these actions, I'm going to get a different reaction. No. Chances are you'll get the same reaction as you always got. Anyhow, I decided not to go for further education. I decided to just live my life and have a good time and look for some alternative. And that's how I came to Holland in 1969. I came here because I was looking for something. I was looking for some alternative. And there wasn't much choice in those days. It was either San Francisco or Amsterdam. Pretty much those were the two choices you had. If you were born in North America, you went to San Francisco. If you were European, you came to Amsterdam. And in the beginning, in the 70s, there was some alternative solution here. But it wasn't permanent. You know, the flower generation, you know, and the love generation, getting high, hanging out, that wasn't a solution. It was also a temporary solution. It was better than the role models I'd seen up to that point. I agree with that. But it still wasn't a solution to my problems. Because again, even if you were free, even if you were free to do whatever you want, to express yourself internally, externally, you don't have to work for a boss, you don't have to have deep commitment in relationships, you could be a free bird. Even then, time would come when you have to give it up. And that's the story of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna doesn't say that the problems of life are suffering or distress, temporary suffering and distress. Or let's put it another way. Krishna doesn't say that the problems of life are economic development or economic condition. Never does he say that by making money or by making a better economic solution, we can solve the problems of life. No. He says the problems of life are Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Dosha, Anudarshana. This is the advice he gives to Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita is very profound. Even though it was spoken 5,000 years ago, and even though it was spoken on a battlefield, and even though the persons involved is the Supreme Lord Krishna and the Supreme Warrior Arjuna, actually the Bhagavad Gita is for us. Krishna was teaching Arjuna to teach us. Arjuna didn't need to be taught. Arjuna didn't have to go in illusion. Arjuna was Krishna's friend. It's not a question of being God's friend and going into illusion. It's no question of that. But the pastimes were enacted so that we can learn from those pastimes. So Krishna told Arjuna, actually he's telling us, that the problems of life are birth, old age, disease and death. These are the problems of life. These are the real problems. We have to get old, we have to get sick, and we have to die. And then we have to take another birth. People don't believe in the next birth. That's another problem in our society. There is no understanding how the soul moves through different bodies. Yet nobody has any explanation where the different bodies are coming from. Why is somebody taking birth as a dog, or a cat, or a pig, or a camel? or a man or a woman? Why is somebody born rich? Why is somebody born poor? What is the answer? Is it chance? By chance, what chance? There is practically no chance in this world. Everything is very much controlled. The whole universe is working under very strict rules. The whole process of modern science is to find out these rules. Not to break the rules. You cannot break the rules. You cannot break the rule of gravity. You cannot break the rule of life and death, birth and death. You cannot stop that. You cannot stop birth, growth, byproduct, degeneration, and annihilation. These things will happen through everything. Everything takes birth. Everything you see, whether it's an animal or a human being or a flower or a plant or an endeavor, something is created. It grows for some time, creates byproducts, dwindles and it dies. That you cannot stop. The process of modern science is to simply find out where we fit in these rules. So Krishna says, Dukkha dosha anudarshanam. Anu darshanam means to look very carefully. And anu means to be humble. Anu means to follow. Anu means very small. So anu darsha. Darsha means drishti, to see. Anu darshanam is to look in a way that, in a humble way. To follow. Anu means to follow behind. And anu means small. What does that mean? That means that we don't know. Therefore we have to go somewhere and approach someone who knows. This is the process of getting knowledge. Even in our culture it is said, seek and thou shalt find. Knock and it will be open unto you. It's in the Bible. So we have to look inside in a humble way, and believe me, if we want to know, knowledge is there. It is there. You don't need anything external. You don't need a guru, you don't need a book, you just first step is look inside your heart. That's the first step. That is a precondition of finding someone who is knowledge. There is no question of looking outside. God is already in your heart. He's there. Nobody can put him there, nobody can take him away from it. I cannot put God in your heart there, and that is an eternal fact of life. Nitya Siddha. It is eternally perfectly there in your heart. So the first step is to look in your heart and make some arrangement with that presence in your heart. And some people know it's called God, some people know it's called Krishna, some people know it's called Paramatma, other people know it's called conscience. But the conscience is there. When you do something wrong, this conscience eats away at you. That's the purity of God in your heart, who is not happy when you do something which is harmful to yourself. Right? If you're a father or a mother of a child, and the child is doing something harmful to himself, it's going to hurt you. He's going to feel it. So God is in our heart. He's our Supreme Father. He loves us very much. When He sees that we do something which is hurtful to us, He suffers. You feel it, and that's called your conscience. Everybody knows that. Doesn't matter where you're coming from. Somebody's living on the moon, he'll have a conscience too. So, first step is to look at this conscience and say, alright, how do I make some progress? How do I solve the problems of life? And in your heart, the external arrangements will be made by God, automatically. That conscience, that presence, was called the super soul. We are the soul, Atma. And next to us, the conscience is called Param Atma. The super soul, it is just like two birds sitting in a tree. The two birds sitting in a tree. One bird is eating the fruit of the tree. And sometimes the fruit is sweet. And the bird is enjoying the taste of sweet fruit. Sometimes the fruit is bitter. And the bird is suffering the bitterness of the fruit. So he's eating sweet and bitter. He's enjoying and suffering. One bird. The other bird is a witness. He doesn't eat. He simply watches his friend, the bird, eating the sweet fruit and the bitter fruit. And he's simply waiting for this bird to turn his head and say, oh, you're my friend.